Yo, what is going on? It is Phobic Sheik here, back with a brand new video. Today we are doing the chapter 68 review, and let's get straight into it. Alrighty, so the main takeaways I have from this chapter are it starts off with Boruto explaining everything that happened with Momoshiki to Amato, Sai, Dr. Katsuke, and he essentially tells them, like, if you don't believe me, I really can't blame you. My body was already 82% Momoshiki's data. He used some of his own DNA to rebuild the remaining 18% of my body. Dr. Katsuke then says it'll be okay, Boruto's taking those meds. Momoshiki won't take over anymore, everything is a-okay. But Boruto's like, yeah, I don't need those meds. Now Shikamaru does not think that they can restrain Kawaki, which I actually agree with him here. Kawaki is easily the strongest inside of the Hidden Leaf Village right now. I don't really think there's any debate about that. But yeah, keeping him on their good side is definitely what they want to do. I thought it was funny how Shikamaru was like, conversely, it'd be real bad if we end up antagonizing him. Fortunately, his wish is simple. As long as Naruto is safe, he'll have no beef with us. I just thought that was funny, Shikamaru kind of knowing the situation, but realizing like, oh, maybe I should be more chill with this guy. Shikamaru then makes his way over to Amato's office. On the way, he runs into Sasuke, who says he has information on Code's whereabouts. He had found Code's hideout. He even has Bug's name and knows as far as to this hideout was where old cyborgs would go to be disposed of. After talking for a little bit, the scene skips over to Eida, Code, and Damon having a conversation on the side of said hideout. Eida goes on to explain to Code that he needs to stop, joking around with things, and that his job is to bring her Kawaki, and in return, she will help him regain his former power. However, though, if she determines that even after he gains his strength back that he is still useless or incompetent, that her and Damon have no qualms about eliminating him. And what's Code doing to Damon? I need to know, what's Code doing to Damon? We don't know too much about Eida yet. I mean, from her own words, she's not a good fighter, but Minato also wasn't good at Sage Mode and then popped out Perfect Sage Mode, so we'll see. We will see. But just in terms of Damon, I don't see Code doing shit to him. I thought this was really cool seeing Code listening through the claw mark on Shikamaru's neck to like find out where Shikamaru is, find out exactly when he's gonna be with Amato. I mean, it really isn't necessary when you consider Eida can see all of that as well. I just thought it was a nice little added touch. From that point, we get Sarada and Mitsuki back in the manga finally. They're checking out Boruto, Sarada mostly, asking him if it really doesn't hurt, asking him if he's okay, and why would Code try to kill him. Boruto then remembers that, oh yeah, I kind of can't tell them that Kawaki actually literally murdered me. So he makes up some bullshit, maybe he couldn't control himself. It didn't seem like he thinks too far ahead. I mean, he's not wrong. Code's pretty stupid, and later on in this chapter, you'll see more of that. He does kind of get big-brained. Sarada tells Boruto he needs to be extra careful because being 100% Otsutsuki now, he's going to be Code's prime target. Sasuke walks in the room, tells Boruto not to go anywhere alone, even within the village, but also calls himself a hypocrite, which I thought was a good touch because even Sasuke knows, like, yeah, I'm going to tell you this, but I be doing the same shit, so... He then goes on to say how now that Kawaki has the power to challenge Code, Code will likely stop at nothing to get his limiters removed, thus making Amato his first target. Boruto and Sarada also had that realization at the same time. Shikamaru finally gets to Amato's lab. According to Amato's blood analysis, Momoshiki 100% cannot revive inside of Boruto's body anymore. From Amato's words, it is 100% impossible. Relieved by this news, Shikamaru then gets to his main point, grabs Amato by the collar, yanks him up from his seat, and says, "You know what I want to ask? That's right, about Kawaki's karma." Shikamaru yells at Amato for essentially implanting Kawaki with a new karma without his consent. Ask him why he does it, and Amato's like, well, he fundamentally loathed karma. I probably wouldn't get his consent, and yet he desired power. Enough to protect Lord Hokage, and regardless of that, in order for the karma to manifest, his intent has to be essential. He then goes on to tell Shikamaru, like, yo, if you didn't have that karma, you guys probably aren't alive right now. That's debatable. I mean, didn't get to see how strong Naruto is with the Sage mode. Kind of annoying. I know people like to be like, oh, well, we got Gale wind palm by Boruto, this and that. It's like, yeah, he was going to protect Boruto. He wasn't fighting Boruto there. Like, let him be bloodlusted against Borishiki, and then we can use that as scaling. But until then, like, y'all can't just use someone who's heavily mentally nerfed fighting their own son as a feat against them. Shikamaru then goes on to say that this was not for Kawaki or Konoha's benefit, and just as this conversation is getting good, code pops out from the claw mark on Shikamaru's back. Eida even says, you fool, the conversation was just getting interesting. And you know, I kind of agreed. I was actually enjoying this little back and forth between the two of them. So after popping out, Code just immediately kicks Shikamaru into the wall with like zero diff. I thought this was a nice touch though. Seeing Amato scream Shikamaru's name like genuinely concerned. Because obviously we know Amato, you know, he's been very sketchy up to this point. We don't know where his true allegiances are, you know, what his true intent is. But he's at least been there long enough at this point that even if it's not full on, that's my friend, I'm concerned, he is showing some concern towards Shikamaru getting kicked into a wall. And I think that's some progress when you consider he originally got into the village and got their protection by faking putting a bomb around Shikadai. So that's just a nice little circle of life, the way it all comes back around. Ko grabs Amato by the neck, tells him to remove his limiters, and even goes on to tell him that he knows how he removes the limiters. To which Amato is thinking, how'd he know? The Sensory unit immediately senses Code's presence, as Amato told Code would happen. Hino reaches out to Shikamaru, says she will send reinforcements, but Shikamaru says no, don't, just wait. Ino, being Ino, a little confused by the logic, even though it's very common sense, says, huh? Shikamaru says he showed up because it's just us, and he doesn't want them to end up provoking Code for him to escape again. Shikamaru's shadow paralysis jutsu was not even able to like fully restrict Code. He was still able to move his fingertips enough to slice him out open, which, you know, that's a little feat for Code, I would say. I would say that's a feat. Shikamaru's shadow paralysis is very strong at this point. It's not like he's a part 1 Genin with no fucking chakra and can't hold it at all or for long or against powerful opponents. So I think this is a pretty good feat for Code. This is what I was talking about earlier when I said that Code ends up getting big brained. Shikamaru says, you thought I wouldn't notice the claw mark on the back of my neck? That I fall for such a transparent trap? Code's like, what? Next thing you know, Shikamaru goes, it's showtime. Wake up, Bronco. Bronco then kicks open her chest tube, and we find out it's actually Delta. So the cyborg Amato has been working on for the last 7 to 10 chapters or so, I don't remember exactly which chapter it got introduced, is indeed Delta. And clearly, you know, Shikamaru, Naruto, and all the higher ups knew about this because Shikamaru was literally the one who gave the code word for her to wake up. And then even after she's awake, he explains she's a new model reprogrammed to be a battle asset that protects Konoha. He then tells her that Code is an enemy at Konoha and to attack him. And Delta, even though she's a good guy now, her personality is still intact. I know. Shut up already. Don't keep screeching like a darn fool. It's Delta. How can you hate it? How can you hate Delta? Delta then kicks the shit out of Code. And I really like this because one, I've already thought, at least without his limiters, that Delta is over Code. You know, Code's got his hacks ability and all. But aside from that ability and his white karma, like, he doesn't have anything else that stands out. Whereas Delta was doing pretty good against pre-losing Kurama Naruto. And if this Delta has been modified for all this time by Amato, to be good now, one can also wonder if she has any new powers or abilities that Amato put into her. Shikamaru tells Code, I guess if I approach Amato with no guards, you'd pop right here. It'd be an opportunity too good for an idiot like you to pass up. As I was reading this the first time, I'm just laughing my ass off because Shikamaru has kind of looked not like a bitch lately, but he hasn't looked like his normal big brain self the last 15-20 chapters, I would say. So to see this, to see him just being clearly steps ahead in a sense that even Amato was not prepared for this, bravo. Bravo. Amato's still smarter, but bravo. After being kicked by Delta, Code reaches into his claw mark, and Shikamaru is scared that he's about to escape. He's about to try to, at least. And Code says, escape? Quite the opposite. Eida then comes out of the claw mark, and Amato's face is pure shock. Shikamaru's just like, oh, a comrade of Code's. Delta's like, oh, whatever. Amato's like, no, 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 not you. The chapter does end with Amato locking eyes with Eida and saying her name. Clearly very, very scared. A part of me always thought Amato might have had his suspicions that Eida was still out there, but I think this confirms that he had no idea because he is purely petrified. Overall though, very good chapter. We got to see Sasuke come back. Got a lot of dialogue between Boruto and his friends. We finally get the reveal of the cyborg Amato has been working on. I'm very hyped it's Delta. You know, I know a lot of people wanted it to be some previous Konoha legend, whatever. And you know, that would have been cool. Don't get me wrong. It definitely would have been cool to see like a clone of Minato, or I know my friend Ant wanted a clone of Fugaku. Either way, having Delta on your side is probably going to be better than having a clone of either of those two. Unless Amato really made a clone of Minato, busted it, which honestly he probably could. But I'm happy with it being Delta, and narratively I think it makes the most sense. So overall, I would give this chapter an 8.5 out of 10. Not the craziest, but it does show some outplaying, a little scuffle that's probably going to turn into a big fight next chapter. Will Code's limiters be removed? Will Eida and Delta fight? Most importantly, is Sasuke about to die? Because Eida is here now. Sasuke is in the village. If Eida needs Damon, she will tell Code to grab Damon. If Sasuke comes across Damon, I think you know where this is going. So right now, I'd say Sasuke's on my death watch. It also makes sense when you consider Sarada is back too. Like, Sarada could literally see her dad get killed, awaken her MS, and since a lot of us, including myself, believe this is the last arc before the time skip, it's all setting up. Like, the pieces are falling into place, and I'm scared. If you enjoyed the chapter review, be sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you are new to my channel for more content like this. Turn notifications on so you never miss a video. And I will see you all next time. Peace.